What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be starting a short little series on the channel that I'll be doing over the coming months, looking back on current and previous Battlefield titles and covering what they did well and what they didn't do well, essentially comparing all of that to what I hope Battlefield 6 does or doesn't add to the game. Today we are going to be covering a Battlefield 5 and what I think it did really well and that I hope carries over to Battlefield 6, as despite the game having a whole lot of issues, there are a ton of positives there as well, and there are plenty of things that I really do hope they carry over into the upcoming title. If you're new around here and you end up enjoying this video, then be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Battlefield content, and be sure to hit that notification bell as well so that you are notified each time I upload more videos like this moving forward. But anyway, with that out of the way, guys, let's get stuck right into it. Now, the first thing that I wanted to touch on when it comes to Battlefield 5 is the gunplay. Now, as I said, there are many things that the game just did not get right, but one thing that it pretty much nailed in my opinion is the gunplay, as honestly it may be some of, if not the best gunplay that we've seen so far in the entire series. When it comes to shooters, gunplay is arguably the single most important aspect of the gameplay and just the game in general. If the gunplay isn't very good, then more often than not the game will feel clunky, old, and generally just not all that enjoyable to play. Battlefield 5 did not have that issue at all, as its gunplay was something of a step up from what we've seen so far in the series, and in my opinion it finally got to a point where it is comparable with some other top tier shooters, mostly Call of Duty. If there's one thing that makes Call of Duty, it's the smooth, crisp gunplay that's pretty much the staple of the game, as in my opinion Call of Duty usually has the best gunplay of any shooter each and every year. It just works so well and it feels very easy and comfortable to play. You never feel like you have to focus super hard to do well or have fun, whereas some games like say Rainbow Six or Overwatch for example, they can feel just a little bit slower and more clunky, making you kind of feel like you really have to focus in order to do well. With Call of Duty being Battlefield's #1 competitor, I think it is really important for them to nail that smooth gunplay aspect, as otherwise people will come from Call of Duty to Battlefield, not really enjoy the gunplay despite how good everything else is, and then likely just go straight back to Call of Duty for that comfortable feeling gameplay. I do think that Battlefield 5's gunplay is not quite up to scratch compared to something like Call of Duty, but in my opinion it is still so much better than in pretty much any other game we've seen in the Battlefield franchise. The only game that is comparable in my opinion is Battlefield 1, and obviously they are very similar games. Battlefield 3 and 4 did have decent gunplay too, but there's just something different about Battlefield 5's gunplay that makes it feel a lot better. The sound design of a headshot or a kill and the pop-up animations that happen when you do get a kill, it all makes the game feel super rewarding and satisfying, and I think that actually plays a much bigger part in video games than what most people give it credit for. Warzone has satisfying kill sounds and animations, Battlefront 2 has satisfying kill sounds and animations, and it makes those games almost addicting to play, because when you do manage to get a nice big multi-kill and there's sounds and pop-ups showing you how many kills you got, let's be honest, that's what all FPS players crave, and I think that even though it seems insignificant at times, that is a really important aspect. Overall, I think the gunplay in Battlefield 5 is one of, if not the single biggest strength, and I really hope that Battlefield 6 feels very similar with just some small improvements to make it even more fluid and satisfying to play. Now, another thing that Battlefield 5 did really well was adding the fortification feature. When this new feature was announced, I won't lie, I was a little bit skeptical about it, but once I actually got to play around with it, I think it helps add a lot more strategy and team play to the game, which is already abundant in the Battlefield series. There's nothing more awesome than playing, say, a game of Breakthrough in Battlefield 5 and having planes and tanks blow the objective area to absolute dust, holding off against dozens of enemy troopers and successfully holding off a wave or two of enemies. The part that makes it even more exciting and enjoyable though is then trying to rebuild the area and set up your defenses for their next push, building some sandbag walls around the area to try and give your team a fighting chance in the next battle. One thing that was often very frustrating in the older Battlefield titles was that once an area had been blown apart, it would stay like that for the rest of the game, and it would often give the attacking team such a huge advantage, because once there's no cover for you to defend from, you may as well just let them storm in and take the objective. Now, there is that option to try and at least somewhat rebuild your base in order to take away the enemy's advantage and put the fight back on even terms, and I honestly feel as though the whole fortification feature is probably one of my favourite additions to the franchise in quite a long time. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention for what Battlefield 5 did really well comes down to the customization of your character. In past titles, most troopers looked pretty much the same. There was essentially just like a camouflage option that allowed you to slightly change how you looked, but each class would generally have the same look for each faction, and so it was very cookie cutter in terms of the customization. Battlefield 5 did finally introduce some actually legitimate customization, allowing for skins, face paint, and even the ability to choose each different part of your uniform rather than just a single skin that you can use, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. I know in a first-person shooter that how you look generally doesn't really matter because you can't really see yourself anyway like you can in a third-person game, but personally I do still enjoy being able to customize how my character looks and what the character is wearing. Customization has always been something that I've really enjoyed doing in multiplayer games, and so I do hope that they carry that over to Battlefield 6 as well, rather than going back to how it was in previous titles. I also think it can add a lot to their ability to monetize the game. I see no issues at all with charging, say, $5 or $10 for a cool looking skin that gives me no advantage over other players. If I want to spend some money to support the live service of the game, then I think skins are easily the best and also fairest way to do so. And for those who don't want to have to spend money, well then the good thing is that they don't have to, as you can live without the skins if you don't really want them. I think that having some sort of battle pass with a heap of skins and customization would be amazing for the game, not only for the players to have more to play with, but for the game to keep earning revenue and help support the live service. And so, like I said, I really think that what they did with Battlefield 5's customization should be carried over into Battlefield 6 and improved on even further. If there's anything else that you guys thought Battlefield 5 did really well, then be sure to let me know down in the comments. At the end of the day, it is all completely subjective, so just because I didn't mention something, that doesn't mean it wasn't good, and I'm definitely very keen to hear what you guys have to say. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.